I received an email the other day asking about women's ordination and specifically in the Orthodox Church, will we ever have women priests? And it had a basis that I hadn't heard of before, which was since God is beyond gender and since our souls are beyond gender, then is it possible that the church can, how did she frame it? Can the church move beyond gendered roles, especially in the clergy? So I wanted to read my response. I'm sorry, I'm just not able to do this ad lib very well. I get confused and I forget what I was saying and I get things in the wrong order and all of that. So I envy the people who can just toss it off so brilliantly. But for me, I try to choose my words very carefully, so I like to use the words I chose. So give this a try. Here was my reply. And actually, I'm reading this off my Substack. I just started a Substack. This is the second one. I plan to put one out every Friday. At the moment, it's free to anybody, so take a look at it. The top story is about bringing a cup of coffee to the priest in the sacristy after the liturgy. So you'll see coffee cups at the start, but this is the next one down. So how about the church moving beyond gendered roles for the clergy? I said, no, that would not be possible in Orthodoxy, the ordination of women as priests. The missing piece is that we live in bodies. Everything humans do is done in a human body. When God made us in his image, as St. John Chrysostom says, he, quote, wisely divided the one into two. They are, as it were, two halves. Male and female are two halves that together reflect the image of God. This is our reality when we live on earth, that there are two kinds of human bodies, and they can't replace each other in the generation of new human life. The image of God is beyond male and female, but an individual man or woman is not beyond male or female. We aren't pure spirits. We live in flesh and blood bodies, which is good for us. It humbles us in a salutary way every day. The next factor to consider is the ancient wisdom of the church. Of course, there are many churches that do allow women to be pastors or even priests. But in Orthodoxy, we inherit an untroubled history of nearly 2,000 years in which the Holy Spirit never did stir up people to desire women priests. It just never came up, which suggests there's something about the all-male priesthood that made eminent sense to generation after generation after generation of Christians. In cultures of all different kinds, all over the world, we can't see the logic that they so effortlessly saw, but we can see them, and that should give us pause. Why should we let their perspective take priority over ours today? Because they lived in closer contact with the earth and its rhythms than we do. A child who grows up with livestock in the backyard, as most children did through most of history, gets a clear practical understanding of mammalian reproduction. The goodness of the male and female division. The fact that it literally produces new life. That was part of their everyday reality. And to those countless generations, an all-male priesthood made sense. It was impossible for them not to see the logic of that. And we today don't grasp that logic instinctively. We are tempted to etherealize things. We don't grasp what was so obvious to our predecessors. But the world they lived in, like the world of the scriptures itself, is deeply rooted in material reality. It's one that humans all over the world inhabited for many, many thousands of years. If it doesn't make immediate sense to us, we can try, at least, and I try to do this, to keep in mind that we are probably not perceiving the whole picture. So that was what I had to say about this question of, the ungendered reality that God represents, and that perhaps we will enter at one point in our paradisical or heavenly existence. We're not there. Living on earth, we live in a gendered body. Everything we do, we're doing in a gendered body. And that no doubt filled the background of why an all-male priesthood made complete sense to previous generations of Orthodox Christians.